Hey everybody, peace and power and elevation be to all you. This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. So I'm starting this video early because my voice is very hoarse right now and I'm just want to go ahead and get it done and over with so I can get some rest. So anyways, today's topic I am going to be talking about Gaspar Yanga. So Gaspar Yanga was a African descended person that was enslaved in what is now known as Mexico. And not only that, he also was a revolutionary. Okay, he was responsible for revolts taking place in Mexico. All right, so before I get started, I want to thank everybody that has been subscribing to my channel, liking my channel, sharing my channel, etc., etc. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot to me. So if you guys can bear with me, please do so. Because again, my voice is very hoarse right now. So I'm going to do the best I can to get through this video. All right. Let me see. Uh, Shout out to Vinyasa Peace. He said, "Peace, Sister Tiffany Yanga is that dude. Love his story. His grandpa also became the first black president of a country in America. I can't stand long, but Yanga is a great story." Wow, I didn't know that his grandfather became the first black president in a country. What country was it in America? Well, what country? If you could send me the name of the country. Oh, okay, that's cool. Wow, I will have to look more into that. Hey Chauncey, how you doing? All right, so let me go ahead and get started, and y'all just follow me with this. Okay, so you said it was in Mexico? Wow. All right, so down here, I'm on Wiki One, which is Wikipedia, and according to the information, it says that Yanga was born May 14, 1545. He was an African who led a maroon colony of slaves in the highland near Veracruz, Mexico, which was then called New Spain. During the early period of Spanish colonial rule, he successfully resisted a Spanish attack on the colony in 1609. The Maroon continued their raids on Spanish settlement. Finally, in 1618, Yanga achieved an agreement with the colonial government for self-rule of the Maroon settlement. It was later called Saint Lorenzo de los Negros and also Saint Lorenzo de Saravo, excuse me. In the late 19th century, Yanga was named as a national hero of Mexico and El Primer Libertador de las Americas. In 1932, the settlement he formed, located in today's state of Veracruz, was renamed as Yanga in his honor. All right, so as you can see, Yanga um, was known for leading the Maroons. And if you guys heard about the Maroons, basically they were escaped slaves that located to places like Mexico and Jamaica. So what he did was he led the revolt in Mexico area in the highland called Veracruz. Okay, so it's funny you're not gonna hear a lot about Mexico history, or you're not even gonna hear a lot about blacks in Mexico. They don't really tell us that. See, this is something we have to look up for ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? We have to really find out the information for ourselves. All right, so so it was said to be that he was of the Brine people and a member of the royal family of Gabon, which is in Central Africa. He was captured and sold into slavery in Mexico, where he was called Gaspar Yanga. Before the end of the slave trade, New Spain had six highest slave population, estimated 200,000 of the Americas after Brazil over 4.9 million, the Caribbean over 4 million, Cuba over 1 million, Hispaniola and the United States 500,000. All right, so let me explain something real quick, right? Let me explain something real quick, if y'all can still hear me. So, a lot of slaves, right, that was taken up out of Africa, they a lot of them went to or sent to places in South America and the Caribbeans first, okay, and then you only had like maybe what 10% of Africans that were brought here to America, but and then the rest of them they were brought here from the Caribbeans area, the Latin area, and brought into America. So when you guys would study history, if you want to know why there's such a high African population within the Caribbeans and the Latin and South America, is because a lot of Africans were sent over their places first before they was brought here to what they call the United States. They were sent to those places, and then there were Africans that were sent over here, that were brought over here, and then the rest of the Africans came from those Caribbean areas. Okay. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and continue, please. All right. It says around 1570, Yanga led a band of slaves in escaping to the highland near Veracruz. I read that. All right. So it says they built a small maroon colony, or Palenque. Its isolation helped protect it for more than 30 years, and other fugitive slaves found their way there because the people survived in part by raiding caravans taking goods along the Camino Real, or Royal Road, between Veracruz and Mexico City. In 1609, the Spanish colonial government decided to undertake a campaign to regain control of this territory. So right here goes into the Spanish 1906 attack. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. So it says, led by the soldier Pedro Gonzalez de Herrera, about 550 Spanish troops set out from Cubleta in January, and estimate over 100 were Spanish regulars and the rest conscripts and adventurers. The Maroons were an irregular force of 100 fighters having some type of firearm, and 400 more armed with stones, machetes, bows, and arrows, and the like. These Maroon troops were led by Francisco de la Matosa and Angolan. Yanga, who was quite old by this time, decided to use his troops' superior knowledge of the terrain to resist the Spaniards, with the goal of causing them enough pain to draw them to negotiating table. And it says, upon the approach of the Spanish troops, Yanga sent terms of peace via a captured Spaniard. He asked for a treaty akin to those that had settled hostilities between Indians and Spaniards, an area of self-rule in return for tribute and promises to support the Spanish if they were attacked. In addition, Yanga said this proposed district would return any slave who might flee to it. This last concession was necessary to soothe the worries of the many slave owners in the region. The Spaniards refused to turn and went into battle, resulting in heavy losses for both sides. The Spaniards advanced into the Maroon settlement and burnt it, but the Maroons fled into the surrounding terrain, which they knew well, and the Spaniards could not achieve a conclusive victory. The resulting stalemate lasted years. Finally, the Spanish agreed to parley. Yanga's terms were agreed to, with the additional provisos that only Franciscan, only Franciscan priests would tend to the people, and that Yanga's family would be granted the right to a rule. In 1618, the treaty was signed. By 1630, the town of Saint Lorenzo de los Negros de Saravo was established. located in today's Veracruz province. The town in the 21st century is known as Yanga. All right, so and then it talks about the legacy and honor. So right here it goes into the legacy and honor, of course. It says in 1871, 5 decades after Mexican independence, Yanga was designated as a national hero of Mexico in El Primo Libertador de las Americas. This was basically largely on an account by historian Vicente Riva Palacio. The influential Rivera Palacio was also a novelist, short story writer, military general, and mayor of Mexico City. In the late 1860s, he founded an Inquisition archives account of Yanga and of the 1609 Spanish expedition against him, as well as the later agreement. He published an account of Yanga in Anthology in 1870 as a separate pamphlet in 1837. Reprints have followed, including a recent edition in 1997. Much of the subsequent writing by Yanga was influenced by the works of Riva Palacio. He characterized the Maroons of Saint Lorenzo de los Negros as proud men who would not be defeated. All right, so that's all the information that I have. All right, that's all the information I have. So let me go ahead and read through the comments real fast. If it wasn't for Vicente learning his story and sharing it, we probably would not know his name today. Gotta go. Oh, okay. All right. Cimarrones is the original term. I've seen some places and people of interest in Mexico once I have them. All right. All right, then. So, again, a lot of this information can be looked into. You just have to go online and find it. So, you guys can also look up information on various websites. Now, I could not find a book for this. However, I came across what I could. So, you guys can look more into this. Just go on, you can go on blackpants.org, which is the website I'm on right now, and find out more information about Yanga. Okay? Blackpants.org. And here's another website, which is called the Bruminate.com, right? It says a history of slavery in colonial New Spain and Afro-Mexican identity. All right? So this article came out on March 22nd of 2021. All right, so real quick, let's just look at the slave period, right? It said the black stars indicate the two main ports of slave arrivals in Veracruz and Campeche during the colonial period. There are three main periods that describe the trajectory of African enslavement in New Spain, now considered Mexico, from 1519 to 1518, from 1580 to 1615. Through 1650, from 1650 through 1827. So it says during the first period, 1519 through 1580, African slaves accompanied Spanish invaders and conquistadors as companions and servants. On April the 21st of 1519, Hernan Cortes and his Spanish fleet arrived at the main port of entry in Veracruz. The first slave to arise in Veracruz believed to come from Angola and Congo. But over time, the majority of slaves were known as Negro Creoles because they were the first generation of slaves born in the Caribbean. All right, and as you can see, here's the map here. And then it goes on to say, the second period, 1518 to 1650, consists of a rise in demand for African enslavement. Disease and rigors of the Spanish labor system led to the rapid decline of indigenous population and the introduction and acceleration of African slavery. Bartolomé de las Casas advocated for African enslavement as a way as the way to replace dying and exploited indigenous population. Racist rationalization such as Africans' superhuman physical strength, resistant to diseases, and adaptation to climate change compelled Spaniards to justify black enslavement and believe one black enslaved person was worth four indigenous persons. Okay. It says the third period, 1650 to 1827, experienced a decline of the enslavement trade in African people and the enslaved black population. All right, so as I mentioned before, I don't have any books on this because I wasn't able to find any books regarding to the life of Gaspar Yanga. Except for one book I have. So I'm gonna show you the book that I do have, and you guys can look it up for yourselves, right? So now the book that I have right here in hand, and I hope you guys can hold on. Let me just kind of like, all right, this book right here, it's called Black Rebellion: Eyewitness Account of Major Slave Revolts by Dr. Sujan Das, okay, which is Supreme Understanding, and he has books on a lot of things. So he has, I mean, he written a lot of books, but this book is just basically pertain to the slave rebellions and slave revolts taking place. Now, in this book, according to the information that he put in here, right, I'm about to go ahead and read it to you guys. All right, so he says, the first African slaves used by Europeans in the present day United States were among Lucas Vasquez de Alon's colonization attempt of present day South Carolina in 1526. However, this attempt is a failure because the slaves almost immediately revolt and fled into the wilderness to live among the indigenous Kafita Chiki. Was it Kafita? I don't know how to say this word. Is it Kafita Chiki people? This is the first document occurrence of a slave rebellion followed by the rebels flee into indigenous Native American community, a pattern that is repeated numerous times in the historical record. So now, it also goes on to say often such flights would occur on such a massive scale that the rebel communities would need to set up strongholds to maintain their freedom. In 1552, an African of the Mandinka people named Bayano led possibly the largest slave revolt of the 16th century in Spanish Panama, which also have a strong African population as well. Panama have a very strong African population. All right, so after the revolt, the rebel slave called the Cimarrones, meaning wild or runaway, set up strongholds known as the Palenques, many of which successfully fended off Spanish control for centuries using guerrilla warfare and alliances with indigenous nations who were in similar circumstances. The development of such communities was typically rapid and impressive. Sir Francis Drake encountered the Cimarrones of Panama in 1572, described them as black people which about 80 years past fled from the Spaniards, their masters, by reason of their cruelty, and are since grown to a nation under two kings of their own. All right. And it says such palenques became a common phenomenon in Latin American colonies. So in 1570, Gaspar Yanga, an African of the brand people of Gabon, led a revolt near the Mexican city of Veracruz that similarly culminated in an escape to the highlands and the development of a free colony, which successfully defended itself for over 30 years. In 1609, Spain ordered a group of consisting of Indians, Creoles, Spaniards born in Mexico, right? And also Mazitos, people of mixed European Indian percentage, and a handful of Africans to attack the Palenque and regain control of the area. This would be one of the first of many times that such a confederation be assembled to destroy a slave uprising or maroon colony. All right, again, it comes from this book called Black Rebellion, Eyewitness Account of Major Slave Revolt by Dr. Sujan Das. So Dr. Sujan Das is also Supreme Understanding of Law, so you guys can get his book as well. All right, so well, when that time come, I'll do the debate about this whole matriarchy thing, but I have not gotten around to doing all the research on matriarchy. So when that time come and when I'm ready to, then I'll get into debate. But right now, I'm just gonna hold off on this whole debate thing. So I'm gonna hold off on that. But I'll let you know when I'm ready. All right then, you guys. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and log off of here, and I hope you guys have a good one. All right. Once again, thank you all for those of you that came in, that bear with me throughout this video. Thank you so much, and shout out to Brother Vinyasa for always coming through with information. Shout out to Chauncey. Shout out to Lions Time Baby, Yaya Bay, and whoever else I don't see on here. Shout out to you guys. I guess so. I guess if that's what you think, then I'm gonna let you live with your imagination. That's all I can say. I'm gonna let you live with it. All right, then y'all be safe, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right, peace and power and elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off saying deuces. All right, thank you.